welcome to the Stop Money Anxiety Now live podcast, episode number 11. Intentions can make or break your career. All right, welcome back to another live broadcast of the Stop Money Anxiety Now podcast. I'm your host, Wei Hong from the Six Figure Academy.
And I'm Jessica, also from the Six Figure Academy.
And this is the podcast where we give you real-world tips, strategies, and interviews with some amazing entrepreneurs who are here to make a difference and to talk about on how to eliminate the destructive money habits and anxiety in your life so that you can create a prosperous and abundant lifestyle in business free of financial stress and worry. I'm actually getting better at saying that now.
The R's and the L's.
I know, right? So how are you doing, Jessica?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day. Oh my gosh, I can't complain. But how are you? How was your weekend?
You beat me to the chase this time. Usually I'm asking how was your week. My weekend was interesting. I actually spent the weekend nursing myself back to health from food poisoning.
No.
Yeah, I actually spent Friday evening. I ate something leftovers that I probably shouldn't have eaten.
Maybe.
And then I woke up in the middle of the night and proceeded to observe my body purge the poison from my entire being. And I think every 15 to 30 minutes I was up and
that's awful. Oh my god.
And you know, I was supposed to actually go down to my
San
friend
Diego, right?
yeah, Nick and Kisma. They had an Energy Mastery Foundation workshop that I was supposed to help assist and train and help them with the energy flow. And you know, I was supposed to wake up at 5:30, and you know, I thought it was like 1 a.m. or something like that. And I said, you know, I really hope that one of these times I'm waking up to go to bed is not the same time that the alarm goes off, because then I'll be really, really tired. And sure enough, one of the times I was like, is that the alarm? Oh my god, there's no way I can make it down there for that.
Oh my god.
So I pushed myself. I said, you know what, you know, I reached out to them and said, hey, give me the morning. I'll see if I can make it in the afternoon. It's a 2.5 hour drive, but I should be able to make it.
Yeah.
And at one point, I guess my body just ran out of stuff to purge. And I said, oh, I think I'm okay. My mind was willing. My body was still saying, I don't know. So I got ready, and every 5-10 minutes I had to stop, and because I was sweating. The body. And it was a cool lesson because you know, for whatever reason, there was just stuff coming up in light of this event I'm going to coming up this week for Epic Life with my coach, and you know, my body just needed rest, and it just found a way to force me to rest, and I just wasn't listening. I was forcing it. Have you ever, you know, forced your body to do something and then you totally regretted it later on, and then you ended up being like homebound for even longer? So finally I listened. I listened to the body, and I said, okay, I'm listening. Whatever it is going on, let's do this. And I just rested, and I gave myself permission to just be and just relax.
That's so funny that happened to you, because the same exact thing happened to me. I ended up working for 23 hours on Friday. Yeah.
Or doing what?
I mean, not the whole entire 23 hours, like full on, but I was
So you
working...
you slept 1 hour and worked.
Well, because I got up at 5 a.m. because I taught a class at 6. And then throughout the whole day I was working on my different projects. And then I had to go into Hollywood to work this event. So naturally, I was only supposed to work 6 hours, but someone didn't show up for their shift. And so I had to fill in that hour that I would have been resting. So I was up from 5 a.m. to... I got home at 4:30 a.m.
Right.
Yeah, and then Saturday, and then I woke up like an hour later. My body was just in intense pain, and the entire day on Saturday, my body was just like, "You're resting. You are." So
we were both resting.
Yeah.
We were both in the flow of being, you know, down and out.
That's so
down
weird.
for the count,
I didn't
out
know.
For the count.
Yeah, and I didn't tell you because I thought, oh, you just got food poisoning. I didn't know you were just like resting the whole day Saturday.
Oh no! And then I finally incorporated the protocols of self-care and everything like that. And Sunday, I was
there's a protocol for self-care.
There is totally a protocol for self-care. You know, so we always talk about prevention, but what happens when you actually get to a point where you are actually not feeling well? You're sick.
Yeah.
So this is something I've been working on in the lab.
Yeah.
In my my money anxiety lab thing.
Yeah.
the Six Figure Academy Lab that we've actually put together. But I'm always doing that. I always go into hibernation the holiday season to work on new things and new topics and new techniques and new strategy. And this is one I've been working on for a while that was inspired by the Wim Hof method of breath work and everything like that. So simple and yet so effective. I'll have to go through that a little bit later. But I mean, the question then is, what was our intention for pushing ourselves so hard? What was our intention for going beyond what our body was screaming at us to not do? Right? Which is so perfect because, today's episode is about how intentions can make or break, well, in our case, our bodies, right? But our bodies are an integral part of helping us create a career of our choice, our dreams, what it is that we desire and everything like that. And our guest today is actually going to be kind of like the what do we call this? The main man. The guy who has actually demonstrated and is almost a virtual poster child of what it means to take your intentions, and I've had a chance to spend some time with this guy virtually because I was on his podcast radio show, and it was really cool because we had a great time, totally connected. I said, man, I gotta have this guy on our show because this guy is so cool. And we don't need a script, we can just go on because he's that good. But so he's been around the block a little bit in terms of intentions and everything. But I think what do you think your intention was to kind of push yourself out? Let's just get that out of the way.
I think my intention was just to show up. I've just been finding that recently with a lot of events, just showing up has been creating a lot of opportunities for me, and I just wanted to show up. I really just wanted to do my best and try to get more opportunities, get more. So
are you saying your body was telling you're overdoing the show up piece?
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what it might be? It might be something that it's very similar. I just wanted to show up. I just wanted because I made a commitment and I wanted to honor that commitment, right?
Yes, yeah.
Now here's the thing. You ready for this?
Yes.
Breakthrough moment. Were we pushing to show up or were we pushing to show off? Because when I was going down to there, I wasn't going down there to be a student. I was going down to assist with what I already knew. Right? Was I going there to show off maybe? Show up? Not show up as in like show up and serve.
Yeah.
But show up and show off?
That's an interesting question.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. For me, I think I'd have to say, you're so established in your skills in your career. And I felt like, for me, I'm still in my 20s. I still have to build my...
Or maybe in your particular case, your body was saying, you got this already. Why do you need to keep going there and playing small?
Oh, gosh.
There we go. Right? That's the millennial perspective.
Goodness, that's funny.
Right?
Yeah, well, that definitely hit a chord. But anyways, who is this man of the hour that you're talking about?
So today we have Mr. Tim Ray. He's the CEO and founder of the United Intentions Foundation. How cool is that? Created a whole entire foundation just on intention. That's why it's so cool to have him on the show today, because it's all about intentions, right? He's also actually started multiple businesses and has taken a couple to at least 6 figures and more, and at least one to a multi-million-dollar status. So no better person to have to come into the Six Figure Academy show of the Stop Money Anxiety and talk about money. He's also a fellow proud dad. I wouldn't say he fathered, but a dad to 3 purebred German Shepherds. I only have 1 husky. I've had a couple, actually. And then 3 rescue pups. Aww. So, yeah, he rescued them. So it's really cool. And he's got a lot of land, which I'm really jealous of because Kayla would love to run around.
Oh, gosh.
She's got this little tiny apartment.
You have a puppy play date.
Puppy play date on the East Coast. To talk about the power of intention. So welcome to the show, Tim. Are you there?
Show me the money.
That's right.
I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We got caught up a little bit on the whole intention thing because, that's what you're all about. That's what your whole entire direction of your life is about right now, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And actually, I have to say that's what all our lives are about. It's something that's, I'm not speaking of anything that's new. We all create intentions every moment, every nanosecond of our life. Just that we just don't allow ourselves to be conscious of it for the most part. Some are, but most people aren't. We just kind of go with the flow where our thoughts take us, and we don't, we have a hard time distinguish between an intention and then just a dopey thought.
Yeah. So for those of you who are joining us live, okay, now that we have Tim on, you can actually interact with us live. If you're on the Spreaker.com app or on the website, you can just open up the chat screen, type in any question they want, because I guarantee if you're paying attention and you've got intentions to do something significant with your career, with your life, with your business, whatever it may be, make sure you tap into Tim's energy today and just kind of ask the questions, whatever questions that you may have, and then we'll just pipe it over to Tim so he can answer them. So Tim, since we are this show is about your money anxiety, your money story, the things that you and I talked about briefly when on your show.
Right.
Why don't we start with just kind of like bringing people up to speed what your money story is, because I'm really fascinated, because I don't think we had a chance to talk about your money story per se in terms of specifics.
Sure. Well, as I started out in a humble beginning up northeast, and so kind of blue collar family, and went to college down in Florida, and I graduated, and I didn't really have much. I worked through college. I was what's called Ross Perot as a Rhodes Scholar, ROAD scholar.
Oh.
So, and you kind of have to make things happen out in the streets, or you know what I mean?
Right.
so, and actually, I look up to more our Rhodes scholars than the typical Rhodes RHODES scholar, because it's really people. I don't care if they have all straight A's, but if they have B's and C's and they work through college or they work through a situation,
yes,
that's the gal for me, because now that person's going to make it happen. They have that kind of.
I'm the guy for you. Whoever said Asians were straight A students, that wasn't me. I'm breaking the mold.
Breaking stereotypes left and right.
So you know the deal. You know the deal.
Oh yeah, big time.
And so and I could go back to the day when I actually created the intention of the career I got into, senior care business. So and then when I got into the business, I rose from assistant administrator in the nursing home business to an administrator, to a regional director, to a vice president of operation of $100 million. Traveling all over the country, and I realized I was really good at crisis management. I was excellent at it. I was great. I had just a natural gift to attract people and maintain good people. It's one thing attracting people; it's another thing maintaining good people.
Right.
That's the challenge, and really, it's putting ego last, which is not easy, especially in circumstances when you have really a person that's for you. You have to handle everybody differently.
I mean, is that handling the egos or putting your ego last, was that something that you were just born with, or was that something you had to learn through your experiences?
I'm sure my great Santini Marine father helped me with a lot of that, putting my ego to the side for a while growing up. But I had also had a psychology background. I had a psychology degree as well as a management degree. And I have to tell you, I probably use my psychology more so than my management in my management. You really think about it, it's true. Right. So, but to me, I was always very focused on end result. I love the problem solve. In crisis management, that's all you deal with, right? And so it was just a natural tendency for me to default to, okay, let me solve the problem, and I can't be part of the problem, so let me push me out of the way. How can we fix this problem here with whoever resources I have to get the issue handled? So it was kind of, I think, a natural default and progression of learning how to be a good manager, maintaining good people, because I always surrounded myself with much more talented people than me, and a lot of people have a hard time with that.
Where did you learn that, by the way, to surround yourself with people?
Survival, up northeast in New York City and New Jersey, Jersey Shore, with all the Jersey Shore folks,
Were you in the show too?
I know. I should have. I really should.
Wait. So survival. How did survival got instilled that powerful, also important learning for an entrepreneur is to surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you. I mean, because that's not very egotistical at all.
And trust me, I could throw people like Tim. You got an ego. My ego will pop up, and I could throw it around when I want.
Why? Because you're human.
And it's not so much that egos are bad. In fact, I tell everybody all the time, your ego is your sensory processes. It processes your five senses, and you need it to survive. But it's not so much you need to eliminate your ego. You just need to balance your ego with source, with that connection to God. God's all there is. If you learn how to balance it, bam, you're in. And people who try and destroy it are just creating more ego.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. You know that you want to hear a very cool esoteric woo-woo explanation.
Well, if you put it like that way, how do we say no?
I'm telepathically communicating. I know exactly what he's going to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, totally.
What are you going to say?
Oh yeah, tell me what I'm going to say. What am I going to say?
You're going to say something about growing up in the Bronx. And,
So I was growing up in the Bronx. No. Wow, you're amazing. No, I tell people all the time about the ego. Is like, people try to eliminate the ego, which is what I tried to do. And growing up, I was like, oh, this ego thing sucks. It's so fragile. It's for the male ego is terrible, and it's like always getting in the way. Let me just get rid of it. But we forget that as energetic beings, how we separate and differentiate between each energetic body is through our unique ego.
Yes, unique.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, and it really probably needs to be re-said, honestly, for people to really let it soak in, because that's some good wording right there. As Jesse would say, that's what do you say? That's dope. That's dope.
Oh God!
No, I'm saying one of those.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, that's brilliant. I listen with the ego. It was just survival in the sense of being goal oriented and needing to get things in place. So you were forced to put it to the side. And psychology really taught me a lot. Where I don't know if you all knew this, but psychology actually was the study of the soul. It wasn't study of the mind, intellect. Freud screwed that up, so.
That Freud. Crazy man.
Wow, I didn't know
Get
that.
off the drugs. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a study of the soul.
Yeah, study of the soul. I like it.
The soul got kind of lost through the generations, right?
But it's coming back.
But circling back to what I was saying, so here I was, vice president of operations, making 6 figures salary, hopping all over the country, building a regional team, turned this $100 million company, that was losing money. It's hard to find a company that makes a revenue $100 million that's actually losing profit, but it was, and there are a lot of them out there. You'd be surprised how many.
Oh yeah, that's money anxiety inside the corporate. Right. Corporate and money anxiety.
Jeez.
So within 1 year of me putting my teams together, and I was able to go from the red to the black, and so I was like the golden child.
Wow.
I was like, man, I was untouchable until I pissed off the CEO.
And Eddie Murphy wasn't around to save you.
Yeah. And then after 5 years with that company, I was sitting outside in the dark, like, what just happened? And in the meantime, this is like the 3 main stressors in somebody's life, right? I had them all happen to me within a 6-week period. Wow. So I lost my high-powered job.
Okay.
Got divorced.
Wow.
And I bought a house that I couldn't live in. I had 2 small kids at the time and a handful of animals that I couldn't do anything about it.
Your other kids, yeah, more kids.
Yeah, my actual,
non-fur kids.
The ones that are not as important,
Oh,
It's, they kind of
the human kids.
They'll help with my legacy, I guess. Yeah. To spend my money, I don't spend. I don't make sure I spend here in this life, right? So, so there I was. Found myself in a good friend of mine's unfinished basement, staring at the 4 walls and saying to myself, "What the hell just happened?"
Wow.
And until you go to that point when you have nothing, you have everything, and you lose everything. And I just didn't lose money. I mean, money, yes, money's important, but it was never really my driving force. It was more of the, I wanted to wear a business suit. I wanted to have an impact in managing. So I had more of these other superficial reasons, but
right.
Money was more just the kind of the means to get to that point.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting in this unfinished basement, and I'm going, wow. And I just remember saying to myself, well, I guess I could go back working for the man again. Or is this an opportunity for me to find it? Because I always had it instilled in my back of my mind to want to get into my own gig, to do my own business, to be an entrepreneur. Father owned a couple multiple businesses only because he had to, because he was fired wherever he went. And had to.
Yeah.
No, he did. He was forced to have his own business because I'm sure he came close to firing himself, but he didn't. But
I do that regularly. God, I'm fired.
Fired.
Who do I find to replace me?
I know.
Kayla.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, maybe I need to roll the dice and make this happen, and because I really don't want to go back working for the man again. I already climbed the ladder, and I'll tell you what, up on the top there, it ain't all that. And it wasn't so much the climbing the ladder. It was just the people up on the top. Unless you're really lucky to work for a very intuitive and community-oriented CEO or owner of a company, which are more sprouting out every day, which is what we need, right? But I happen to be not in that circumstances. I was basically holding this bubblegum company together in the sense of strings attached. And once I had out with the CEO, everything was just house of cards, man. Boom. Wow. And so, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, I wanted to get it. I had senior care business. I used to run nursing homes and some assisted living properties. And I said, well, I'm going to start my own business. So I need to get some quick money here. And so I remember during that time, I created a kind of a middle management LPN management role program for the nursing homes. So I said, let me go to this local Kennesaw University, which is in Georgia, this continuing ed, and let me go pitch this to the program coordinator and see if she'd be willing to, let me roll this out, teach it, and I can get some money and, start my business.
Right.
In the home care, and the company's called Golden Home Services. So I did, and I went to the lady, and I pitched my pitch, right? I put time and energy into it, wrote it all out exactly how I wanted to do and go. And she looks at me and she goes, I don't need that. What else you got? Of course, I had nothing. That's all I had, right? So I started doing my little tap dance, and I go, well, what do you need? And she said, I want a certified nursing assistant program. And so I said, okay, I got the skill set and the connections, and I said to her, I will put together the #1 nursing assistant program in the state of Georgia if you pay me, I don't remember, a couple $1,000s, right? And normally they don't pay you. They just pay you like a salary after you do the program. So I was like, I need some upfront money.
Right.
This is like Bronx Street, New Jersey coming out in me, right?
Right.
And she said, okay. And bam. And, to this day, it's 12 years running. And it's the #1 certified nursing assistant course in the state of Georgia.
Wow.
So,
nice.
Boom.
What was so cool about that story was that one pivotal moment where you could have said, oh, okay, well, thanks for your time. Turn around and just go bang your head on the pavement a few more times. Right?
Absolutely.
But then you listened and you decided to ask, well, what do you need? How many times have you seen entrepreneurs not ask that very poignant question instead of trying to make up and guess what their audience needs?
And I didn't have an interest in that at the time, but I'm like, well, this is all the stepping stones for me, and everything has been a stepping stone for me in that sense, the way I look at it. But it's not so much I see it as I'm just so focused on the end, the end prize. It's not. I really enjoy the journey. I love creating something from scratch. I'm just naturally drawn to something where it didn't exist in reality, and bam, now it exists. And I had everything to do with it. And that perhaps a little driven by ego, but at the same time, I really enjoy that aspect. That's what really motivates me.
Right.
So, and so there it was, and it wasn't like the success story wasn't like just Tim had a great idea and just it was hard work for at least first few years.
Sure.
It was just me going out getting clients, and it wasn't like I wasn't working other jobs. I knew a guy who was just started his business in assisted livings, and he said, I said, listen, I'll do an independent contract. I don't even care about the money, just a little bit of money so I could just get my other business going, right? And I'll just do whatever you want me to do. I'll be your Doug, So I'm like, all right, whatever you need. And so he said, yeah, so he had me watching overseeing 7 of his assisted living properties in like 3 states, and I would be driving around, and he even let me. Had an office in his office. He let me open up an office for my home care, my home health care company. And so he let me start that at the same time helping him out, because I was like I had a lot of experience, but a discounted rate. And I was just, he knew my angle, and he helped me with that. And boy, I just grew from there. So, and I was hustling. I remember I was throwing newspapers at 2 or 3 o'clock in the night, just throwing newspapers, make some extra money, make sure my kids are being taken care of, my ex-wife and her new house is taken care of, and the whole.
Gotta get that money handled.
Wow.
So, I was hustling. I was a hustler, man. I was making 3 jobs. Go ahead.
And that's what I think about. That's what I like about your story is that a lot of entrepreneurs think they have this $1 million idea, and we read all these articles that say, oh, this person had this idea and then this happened and now they're a billionaire. But I think a lot of people overlook the hard work and the grit you really have to put in. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like Jesus had that 20-year gap, and nobody ever asked, well, maybe he got to where he got because of that 20 years. Hello?
You think?
It wasn't like he was born that way. I mean, he put in the work. He hustled. He got himself learned.
Exactly.
Wow.
So-
I'm just thinking, where I am in my career, there's obviously some days or moments where I have doubt. Did you ever have moments of, where you were just thinking
doubt,
and
money, anxiety, all
second-guessing?
kinds of stuff? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I had to, I don't know if you have kids or were married or divorced and all, but I had all that and then some. And so I had a lot of responsibility on my shoulders on top of taking on a whole entrepreneur type of route I'd never done before. And doubt was riddled. I mean, thank God I had a certain belief system in reference to manifestation and my kind of, I don't know how you would even.
Yeah, let's talk about the intentions and the manifestation piece, because what you're talking about, what you're touching on right now is probably what every entrepreneur goes through.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to hit a wall where they're like completely overwhelmed. They're looking at all the challenges laid out in front of them. And what is it? What do you attribute to your ability throughout your journey to persevere and push through that?
I would say number one attribute for me is pertinacity. Being able to understand and not being tied to the expectations. Like when a lot of people I see will come
like that.
Will say, Tim, I got to put a business plan together. Help me put a business plan together. And I go, okay, that's fine, but don't put too much energy into that. Don't worry about doing the really detailed, analysis and demographics and all that. I said, honestly, most of the time you're going to start out a business that by the time it's end and done and successful, it's not going to look like what you started out.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't have that. And then the problem is a lot of people are so tied to that expectation is when it doesn't go that certain way, they throw the towel in.
Yeah.
And they go, I go back working for the man again.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be open-minded and light on your feet, even in business, not just in life, as one of my mate David says. So, but yeah, it's I say you have to be able to know. And I remember when I first started out my first year, I had made one client, and I was living off whatever savings I had left or whatever money I had coming in from my other jobs, and I remember going like around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, going to sitting on the couch in my place where I was staying, and going, man, I guess I could take a nap, because there's really nothing else I could do. I guess I could do some more marketing or whatever. But I said, or I could go back working for the man again. And I said, no, I think I'll keep doing this. I said to myself, I honestly just set myself away. And Jessica, I said that I could either sit here, take a nap, or go look for another job. I said, I'd rather sit here and take a nap.
Yeah, take care of you, right?
Because I couldn't see the money coming in. I couldn't see. I mean, I was hoping, I had the intention, I was there, but I didn't have that knowing that this was going to be successful. I was just like, wow, I'm just kind of either wasting time right now and being as mindful as I possibly can, or things are kind of, whipping up in the pot here and they're going to be happening soon. So I went with the latter, and before you know it, it's a slow, it's like a frog in warm water. You don't even realize. You just hustle and you just hustle, and
then you wake up one day and you're a multi-million-dollar business.
Exactly. I remember.
That's as funny as that sounds. I mean, did you realize there's studies out there that have actually shown that most millionaires or most multi-million-dollar business are accidental multi-million-dollar business? They just keep grinding away, and then one day they look up from the trenches, they're like, oh, I have a multi-million-dollar business. What the heck just happened here?
I don't have to eat McDonald's anymore. What happened?
No, and it's true. And they found that people who actually focused on making the money, actually had a harder time getting there than those who just said, I just gotta work, immerse, commit, convict, and conviction.
Makes complete sense to me. Makes complete sense to me.
You experienced it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was the point where the guy I told you let me open up the office while I was seeing his properties. He pulled me in his office one day, and I was just kind of rock and rolling, and I was still doing everything I needed to do. But he said, Tim, listen, I'm going to tell you something that you're going to be very upset with me, and then in time you're really going to thank me. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And he goes, sat me down. He goes, well, you got to pack your stuff and go. You got to get out of my office. You're not working for me anymore.
Whoa.
And that's how he let you go?
Yeah, and with a smile, and he said, you're growing, and you're not able to dedicate the time or what things that you're doing here, and I need to kind of move forward. And you need to move off on your own, and I'm telling you, God's honest truth. 6 months later, I opened up my own office in the same complex, just in a different place, where he used to be. And 6 months later, I actually went over to his office and I thanked him for what he did, because things that when that door closed, the other door opened, and it was scary. I was scared when I was in that office, and he told me that. I was like, oh my God, that means I really fully commit to this. This is really, I'm at a borderline right now that could fail very quickly or it could grow. And at that fork, and bam.
So oh wow. Yeah, so he said, get your foot off the dock, get on that boat.
That's exactly what he said, basically.
Wow. That's awesome. Do you still keep in touch with him?
Oh yeah, he's a great friend. In fact, he's getting involved in the foundation. Daniel Brinkley was one of my guests here. Became a friend. I don't know if you know him. He wrote the book Saved by the Light. He had that near-death experience, and I think they made a movie out of it. I don't think it was a great movie. It was Eric Roberts played in it. Can't be that great, right? And,
what are you talking about? He's related to Julia Roberts.
I know. Oh yeah, he is, isn't he? All right.
Yeah, that's Julia Roberts' brother.
I take that back, Eric. I take that back. Julie. All right. So, and he said, he knew David back in the day because David used to run this called this Psi group, and that's how I met David, through this Parapsychological Institute where Daniel Brinkley was talking about near-death experiences, and Raymond Moody on near-death experiences Daniel Brinkley was his protege for him. And so anyway, so the connection was there, and I circled around, and we had a big dinner with Damien and David, and so we're all great friends. And it's just amazing how when you just let go, you don't take things personally. You don't panic. You don't panic to the point where you just remind yourself, like Dale Carnegie, what's the worst that could happen? I could just die, right? All right, that's the worst that could happen. I could die.
And can that actually happen? And that's why I tell people all the time, is like, if they're getting themselves all worked up over something and said, okay, great, you want to know a quick question you're going to ask yourself about this challenge that's in front of you right now, you're stressing about, and it says, will you die? And if the answer is no, then you're okay.
Right. And then next step up is, okay, will I be living in a box on the side of the street? Okay, I could do that for a while, I guess, if I had to, And then, and you work up, do it.
You got enough dogs around you stay warm.
3-dog night. That's where the name came from, by the way. The Aborigines, they would say, it's going to be a cold night tonight. It's going to be a 3-dog night. You got to sleep with your dog. Right? So a little trivia I throw at you, Jessica. I thought
just in case. She doesn't even know the Eddie Murphy reference either.
No,
she's like looking at me like, what?
I know.
Eddie Murphy. I want the knife.
No, I was like, maybe it's like an inside joke that they had on.
No, it's a movie called
interview.
Golden Child.
Nope. Sorry.
Anyway, we jest.
So that story is amazing, and I'm so glad that we were able to capture that on the show. Now, so I have a question. So how did the intentions of what you had on every step of your journey, how did that come into play? I mean, how it either made or, made your career happen?
Just from my belief system, and I was always a little researcher back in the day, even in college. Mm-hmm. I kind of fell into the metaphysical belief process, and so I really, at a young age, death really wasn't a concern of mine. So I think once and death is just, people think there's just death, but there's so many levels of death. Death in public speaking, death in somebody finding out your secret, death in whatever
death in marriages.
Death in marriages, yeah, exactly. Your wife's poisoning you to death because she wants your insurance money. So there's so many levels. Or you guys
get a divorce.
Or just get honey, I'll let you live. Right. But there's so many different levels of death. But I think I had the ultimate death of not being here on this 3-dimensional world, kind of covered. Where I'm just going to enjoy this. And if worst comes to worst, things don't work out, then I'm going to survive. I'm going to always do something. Yeah. But anyway, I think that helped me on that level. But the intention work really was. I truly feel like, even when I started my company, Golden Home Services, I put together my logo before I even put together the company specific business plan. Uh-huh. And the logo is really important to me. I just watched one of those movies with Tom Hanks and the codes and the churches. I can't remember the name.
Da Vinci Code.
The Da Vinci Code,
right?
So I was just like, wow, and all the different levels. And so I'm like, I'm going to put my little code together, And so I had this circle. And then this triangle, and then these 3 waves in the middle of it. And supposedly that meant universal unity, right?
Wow.
And like the circle was strength, I think, and the triangle was circle was unconditional love. The triangle was change, and the 3 ways was I can't remember. Anyway, it had a really meaningful to it.
Do you realize what you had done there?
I was creating an intention. I was putting the intention of this company in place because I saw this, and what's neat about it, I used the code where, the circle was the sun, because it was called Golden Home Services. Circle was the sun, so it looked like a sun. The 3 little triangles were actually birds. And the 3 little, waves were actually birds, right? And the triangle was a house, so Golden Home Services. And I lowered the house and I moved the birds up. But when you put them all together, that's where it's unity. Yeah, that's unity of love, right? But separately, it looked like my logo for Golden Home Services. And so, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's going.
No, I was just, and that was what I was interested in at the time. I said, and I saw this.
Yeah.
I saw it even back then. Now reflecting back, oh my God, I'm getting a little chills here. Yeah. I saw this really as a stepping stone to what I'll be doing in the future. And I'm doing what I'm now at the foundations, what I really wanted to be doing.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know it at the time. I always felt like, you kind of at Field of Dreams, you build and they will come type of attitude. That was my intentional attitude. I'm here doing this, I don't know what else am I going to do?
Well, I got chills listening to that, because here's the thing, since the beginning of man, in creating inscriptions and hieroglyphs and everything like that, it's no mistake that early man, written language was not like English, which is actually which is a watered down version of language, so to speak, in terms of how it's written. Like if you look at hieroglyphs, if you look at the Chinese language, every stroke, every part of the word or the language, the written language, had an intention in it. And the power of man's ability to be a vessel to put energy, intention, and power within it. That's why they have those who delve in both the dark and the white magic arts and whatever the case may be. They write things. I mean, look at voodoo. It's all about writing things and putting things into writing and putting things into like inscriptions or designs, because there is so much power. What you created for yourself is like some ordinarily call it a talisman, or maybe even a an elemental,
right?
And that actually was a powerful, let's just say talisman for you that was able to kind of like keep you going. This is getting really into the woo side, but still, I think it's so cool, because listening to that, you can't help but talk about that. Look at just listening to how much you put into that logo design. It was more than just a logo. It is you putting your mark. That's why, how those Chinese people, they have those, everybody has a little wax mark thing that they could put on their parchments and stuff like that with their name, their unique name. Yeah. It's like a seal, right? You created your own seal to basically put that stake in the ground that this is what I'm here to do. And every business has been a vehicle.
Well, I probably never gave it as much credit as I really should, because I think you're hitting on something, because the triangle was strength, the waves were change, and the circle was love, unconditional love. And so I always saw it as more we're moving from the Piscean age to this Aquarian age, right? We're shifting to this. And and this is a fluctuation period of time, and I wanted this company to be a stepping stone to help people on that level. And it almost didn't even though it's caring for seniors, and I enjoyed it. I've been doing it for 25, 30 years, right? And it was all I knew for the most part, in a sense. But I did. It was much more than that. It was me making my mark on this world. This is what I'm going to do in this world.
Right.
And right now, and I was telling you earlier, is that right now, even with starting the foundation, and foundations for the most part, it might have been going on for 2009, but I really didn't put a lot of energy and money and time to it, probably in the last couple of years. But it's growing. It's definitely growing, and my goal of success will be when it's self-sustaining, on a financial level and all those type of levels like that, and we really start growing.
Yeah.
But I feel so successful with it because this is my passion. I get to go to work every day, and that's how I really feel about it.
Right.
And trust me, I'd rather be home sometimes, just laying in bed watching old Columbo reruns or something.
Hey, you're human.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just that I feel what I'm doing now, it was definitely intentional, and I think once or you have success in another endeavor, you have that success, whatever that means to you, you have success. There's this transfer, there's this general association of knowing that you're going to have success in another endeavor, even if it's not even thought of yet in a manifestation piece yet, Right. And I think that's, if I had to share one insight I had in my entrepreneurial travels and steps and missteps, I would say that's probably the formula piece that a lot of people don't talk about, is this knowing. And what we even do in the United Intentions at unitedintentions.org is we talk about the intention scale. And the intention scale is your present belief in this intention being manifested. What's your state of being? What's your present belief? And we have this 5-point star scale where you go from definitely not likely, maybe, likely, definitely. And as you graduate, and it's for yourself, it's for you to grade, no one else. And as you grade yourself, your state of being and where you are on this, you can even call it a knowing scale. We call it intention scale because it's in line with the word, but really it's a knowing scale. And as the more you know, the less you doubt. The more you doubt, the less you know. Yeah. And so as you graduate on this knowing scale, it truly starts manifesting for you on that level, on the universal level, which I see it. And I tell you what, I don't care if you don't have success in something, it's tough to get higher on that knowing scale because your subconscious mind is taking over and saying you're a failure. You cannot do it. It's too much work. No one else. If somebody who you admire can't do it, how the hell are you going to do it? Whatever negative programming you want to put into your head, right. But once you have success in one area, even if you don't have the success, if you pretend you had the success, right. It doesn't matter because your subconscious mind only stands the present moment. It doesn't matter reality. Like right now, if I told you to bite into a lemon, an invisible lemon, you would actually have a biochemical reaction in your saliva of what a lemon would taste like. So see, Jesse had that right now. He just said, "Thank you. You're welcome."
I just messed up my pop filter.
So, your subconscious mind is 30,000 times more powerful than our conscious mind. It runs 95% of our brain. So, you have to kind of sometimes play that tricking game of your subconscious mind. So it doesn't matter if you even have success, but if you kind of put yourself in a state of mind of what success feels like, then you're much closer of attracting that frequency and vibration of another endeavor that you're doing. Right. But knowing, I think, is the key piece. Once you know where you are, and you're not fooling yourself. You really have to sync your subconscious knowing belief with your conscious knowing belief. All right? You can't just say, I know I want that Bugatti, and your subconscious mind saying, no, you're going to get a Hyundai. That's all you deserve. Yeah, you have.
That's what you're going to get.
Or
not get anything.
The compromise. You may get a cord or something. Who knows? But it's well, whatever.
What did Jesse say?
That's not a compromise. But all right. So, but it's to me, it's where you are in your state of being and knowing something's going to happen, and that's the whole point of the power of intentions.
Right. Very cool. Wow. Just kind of defining that, hopefully we'll put some links in the comments so people can go there and check it out and see where they fall on that scale. So, here's the thing about money anxiety and the money story and everything that we have, with every growth progression for every career. And I've seen this in both startups all the way to multimillionaires, where there's always a new layer of anxiety to handle. There's always a new potential challenge when it comes to money in terms of growth and how we further leverage money as a tool to manifest our intention, to manifest what we're here to do. I have a couple. I want to ask you this first. Where do you see yourself now? Now that you're now stepping off and getting even closer to what you've intended to do or you've wanted to do with this United Intentions Foundation, where are you now when it comes to your money story or your money anxiety, whatever it is that's coming up? What can you share with people just so that makes you even more human? Like what is your biggest challenge now when it comes to that piece?
I would say what I've learned and now that I'm really enjoying is I'm picking things that I'm not like a stepping stone to my passion. I'm picking things now that I want to lose myself in. I want to spend my time in with is what I'm very passionate about. Because I know if my passion is at that high rate, one, I'm going to be much closer to the definitely on my knowing scale. And then two, I'm going to have that staying power because I love doing it. Even if the money doesn't come right away, or if the money say never comes, I didn't lose anything because I'm doing something I'm very passionate about. And usually, maybe all the time, I don't know, but usually we should do it. Get a Gallup poll going. But usually, if you're doing something that you're extremely passionate about, money follows. So I would say right now, what I'm starting to do now, we just put Jesse and the gang and Brittany just put a sizzle reel for me together to get me out there to start doing presentations. And we're going to colleges and going to universities and schools and speaking events and I love that. I love to be able to share and get that going. And I'm like, hey, this is a new endeavor for me. I've never done that on that scale level. So let me go into that. And I was promoting the foundation, promoting whatever I'm going to be promoting. And so I would say that, where I'm focusing on more so on than just money. And it's easier for me to do that because I have money, right? Might not be so easy for me to hold that focus if a certain percentage of my mind is worrying about money. And I get that. So my advice for people, and even for myself, and which I do say to myself a lot, is act as if I have money. Act as if money's not an issue in my life, because then I could perhaps focus and attract things that will bring money along with it. So, because if it's like a race car driver, you're going around these corners, 200 miles an hour, and they're sometimes inches away from that corner. And they're trained. They are trained so well to keep their eyes in front of them, because if they even just slowly dart really fast their eyes to the wall just to check the wall out, they go right into it.
Right.
So they got to have 100% concentration on that success, or that focus on the front. If you start from that point, where am I in my concentration of what I'm wanting attention, or where I am? If I'm dedicating, and it's usually I'm dedicating 20% to this intention, this goal, this desire that I want, and 80% to worrying about why it's not going to work and what I need to, what's going to happen. So if you could shift those percentages around, you don't have to be like 100% overnight. Just go from like 20-80 to 50-50 or 30-70 and work your way up. Because on the knowing scale, on that, you go from definitely not to definitely. I guess it happens, but to me, it's like Neo in the Matrix. Once he realized that he could stop the bullets, and because he was working himself up through the whole movie, right? First, he was introduction to it, and so you could see him working up on the intention scale, and then it got to the point where he's like, whoa, and then everything changed. He shifted. He saw the world as it really was, just energy, right? And so that's the state of being. That's the knowing you need to have in reference to that, and it can't be. You could fake it till you make it, but eventually you're going to have to incorporate it to your subconscious mind, leaving that as well.
And like with Neo, when he realized that, he thought that was the end all be all, but then there was like another layer of challenges that arose as a result. I mean, the whole thing showed up, right? All the different versions of Mr. Smith.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And you take out your neighbor's trash.
I know, right? It's like I call the CIA. I call the CIA out, Mr. Smith. We got a bunch of Mr. Smiths around here.
So who is your Mr. Smith right now in where you are in your path?
My nemesis? Who's my nemesis?
What is your biggest nemesis right now? What's the biggest thing that you're saying? Okay, great. I gotta. This is a new learning that I have to tackle and have to like focus on.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I think I'm on Spreaker, Blog Talk. No, I would say. I would say honestly that I have to reel myself in, because I think, well, I only have this one life, and I'm already in my 40s, and eventually be in my 50s and 60s and 70s, and
we're both in our 40s. What are you talking about?
I know. I'm a maverick, I should have started this when I was 5 years old, but and I'm like, I just feel. There's something like this project I was telling you about, this German Shepherd Defense Academy. I really want to put time and energy into that. And so I'm just trying to be smart about by getting people engaged to help with these projects rather than me just lose myself. But I think my nemesis really is probably myself right now, of having too many things that I want to do about, and where I just make sure I grow and build that one thing. So I'm wrestling with that a little bit.
So would you say that money, along with being a tool to help facilitate you being able to do more of what you want to do, has now opened up a new can of worms, that now that you have money to do anything that you want, you're trying to do as much as all that you want to do? Would you say that's
Absolutely.
Kind of what's going on?
I say absolutely. And I'm a risk taker. Entrepreneur, you can't really be successful unless you're a risk taker. And, some people are a little too much of a risk taker.
Calculated risk taker, right?
Calculated risk taker. And some are a little too much, some are not, some, and whatever the case may be, and it usually fits you if you're in that realm. So there's always a risk, but I really, the money comes in one hand and goes out the other into a project that I'm passionate about. That's where I am right now. I mean, I don't look back where I don't have my safety nets and my little security and things like that, but it's I'm in the flow, and I'm going to spend the flow. And I'm very altruistic in the sense of somebody needs help, whatever. And but I do that. I just don't do it like on a broad level, like I'll donate to some unknown organization where 20% of the money goes to the kids, and the 80% goes to the fat cat's pockets, right?
Right.
Be surprised how a lot of these nonprofits and companies are out there like that. I mean, really surprised.
Yeah.
But I like to vet things out, and if I'm going to invest money, I like to invest money in things that I'm involved in, I'm influencing. I know the true intention is,
Yeah. So what was your biggest intention that you had set before you started on this journey? When you were like sitting there just thinking about just creating that logo. How would you sum that up as the umbrella intention where all these different projects and businesses fall under? What is that main intention of yours?
Well, before I answer that question, I'd like to say what I think the formula was for me, why things came about, and probably still is the formula today. I'm outside of the knowing scale, but I just would let, and anybody who slaps a daydreamer in school or says, stop daydreaming, I tell you, I feel like slap the teacher, absolutely.
Slap him back.
Slap him back.
It's like, Johnny, if the teacher ever slaps you for daydreaming, slap her back.
Oh my gosh.
And your father said that, yeah.
Yeah, and you can blame me all day long because I'll go in there and I'll follow up with another slap.
Oh my goodness.
Slap the principal.
Yeah, right. Slap the school.
I'll slap the whole school. But my point is that I would let my imagination run wild. I would just be very, grandiose about it, and I wouldn't even do it like deliberately. I would just do it because I was excited about it.
Right.
I was seeing myself with the company growing. I would be, this millionaire traveling around the country. I would be growing. The logo would be everywhere, and I would just find myself daydreaming every day because I had a lot of time in the beginning. Right, all I really had was imagination. Right. Didn't have any money, and so I used that time for my imagination, and I would just let it go. And if you look at it from like a Esther Hicks level, Abraham level, that every thought gets put somewhere. They call it the void or whatever the case, and it's out there. And the question is not so much the thought or the energy; it's where are you in believing that you could pull that into your reality? Yeah. Where are you on that intention scale? You could pull that into your reality. Yeah. And so I didn't know at the time I was even doing it. I was just doing it because I was just a little kid, loves to daydream, ADD daydreamer, blah, blah, blah. And so, but that was, I would say, it led me to my next imagination. And I even bought a house, even when I was halfway in with Golden Home Services. I bought a house that I couldn't afford. I mean, the president will tell you. She is a good friend of mine. And she'd say, you can't. My plan was, this is how I rationalized it, Jessica. I said that, I'm going to open up a dog training kennels. This is way back when. This is like 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't even remember now. But and I said I'm just I'll rent it out. So I can't afford the mortgage, but I'll rent it out, and I'll just, because I really wanted the property for my animals. I really, kids, they could have a room, but the animals get all the land, right?
Right.
And so that's what I really wanted, and I remember having that. And just when the market crashed, I think in 2008 or 7 or something, and you couldn't get a jumbo loans anymore, so I had this thrown out. I couldn't even get a one loan. I had to figure out how to. And back then when you really weren't making a lot of money, or you're making some money, but you're on your tax level, the taxes, you always want to kind of deal with your taxes and everything, but it's just you don't have a lot of money to show. Right. And so I remember just, wow, what happened? And then I met another banker, got me a second loan, I got a credit line, and it all worked out. And I'm like, and I say to myself, this was meant to be. This is the universe allowing me to have this right now. And I was always grateful for that. I think there's another attitude of gratitude to add in with the knowing and with the imagination, is having that attitude of gratitude when something comes your way. And I'll be the first to be working on the next project and forget about my present moment or whatever the case may be, or somebody had to slap me down and say, Tim, hey, hello, listen, you listening?
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I have my moments of gratitude, man, I am grateful. I mean, I go deep into gratitude. Yeah. And I really love that.
Do you feel that's what grounds you and brings you back from daydreaming to actually taking action and making sure that you have your foundation handled as well?
I didn't until you just said that, but yeah.
I'm just asking.
Unicorns left and right.
Okay, so cool.
Big star on that one.
Right. So, there's so much good information here, and we could probably talk until the cows come home. That's for sure. And I think that was the same thing last time when I was on your show, right? Yeah.
I know.
So we'll have to have you come back again, and same thing as me being back on you guys' show too. But I want to give you a few minutes to actually talk about what you're all doing now, and I think you have something that will give people an opportunity to connect with you and your organization further. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, a couple things real quick here is that at the United Intentions Foundation, you go to unitedintentions.org, you check us out on the internet, you Google it, and then you find us. It's free membership. We're a 501c nonprofit because we want this to be free. This is like free energy. This is how you don't give somebody a fish. You just learn how to fish. You learn how to power of your intentions, how to create, track, and manifest your intention. One program that we're doing is the UI Education and Imagine If program. And the Imagine If program is showing kids at a young age, from 1st grade to 12th grade, how their thoughts create their reality, how they shift their perception, can create what they want. That's the power that they need.
Yeah.
That young. Exactly. Now, we don't use the word intention. We'll use goal. We'll put it in terms that they can understand, but the essence is the same and the process is the same. Yeah. And so, and just think where we'd be if we had this empowerment in 1st grade. So that's where, so people want to get involved in that, please come to the site, get involved, volunteer, donate, do whatever you need to do. But this is really our future, and I see it as our future. And our mission, our vision is simple. In our foundation is awakening people to the power of intentions. That's our vision. That's it.
Right. So there's a whole bunch of free tools. Just go to unitedintentions.org, yes. Right?
And yes, and if anybody contacts us, I think we're taking the first 10 people or 10 businesses. They want a free 60-second ad to be ran on our United Intentions network, on the UI network, UI Radio network. You kind of put together what you want to say, and it's in line with our intentional businesses and what we're trying to do here in the community, in the universe, right? Wow! And we will post it for free for you on our show and run it at least one time. It's really good. We even played a few times, So
60 seconds is a long time. That's a lot of airtime for a commercial.
Yeah.
So let me get this right. So the first 10 people that reach out and contact you guys through the website, or?
Yeah, you have to create an account, become a member.
Okay,
which
is free, a free membership, right?
And I'll friend me. I'll friend you. I'm on the site all the time, and say, hey, I'm interested in getting my free 60-second business. Okay, and just put there. Show me the money.
Yeah,
that's it. Show me the money.
Right. So get this. Okay, people who are listening. If you have a business, if you're an intentional entrepreneur that's here to make an impact and you would like a little bit of support and help wherever you can find it, the first 10 people, go and just become a free member over at United Intentions. Start using the tools there to manifest more of your intentions and reach out to Tim to get some airtime on his show. 60 seconds for their business.
We'll produce. You put the writing way on that. We'll fine tune it, make sure it's in there, and then we'll produce it. We'll actually have a voiceover, may do it for you, and then bam, good to go.
That's awesome. Wow, that's extremely generous actually, because you guys have a following of how many now?
We have thousands of members.
Thousands of people who listen every single week.
Oh, on the site, yeah. We syndicate too. I mean, I would say. I mean, we just now opened up YouTube. We have over 160 listens already, or how they ever measure it, and a couple thousand people, and growing. We just did that 3 months ago.
Nice.
And we do Facebook Live as well. Our shows are on Facebook Live, which we get thousands of listens on our different shows. We get we're on now Instagram Live, right, Jesse? We're doing Instagram Live too. That just started that a couple weeks ago. So we've been working on that. And so and plus Spreaker and iHeartRadio and Blog Talk, all the jazz on that. So
super cool.
Radio FM, but Fringe FM too. We're live feeding on Fringe FM.
So where are you guys not at? Gosh.
Well, we try to stay with the mainstream radio media because it's all propaganda. So we were trying to create a whole nother real network. Now I'd probably go on some of the shows, but I'd be a little weary. But sometimes you have to really
real social network that is driven by the social public.
Street, baby, coming from the street.
Street academia.
Keeping it street. We're keeping it street.
I call you the street academic. That's what we'll call you.
There you go, street epidemic. There you go. From the Bronx in the house.
Wait, so cool. Well, you know what, Tim? Thank you so much. I mean, the stories were enthralling. I mean, at one point, Jessica and I were just looking at each other going, wow, this is really
like
amazing stuff.
Wealth of knowledge that you just
so many
down.
Gemstones in it, and I think we're going to have to go through just to pull out those gemstones so we can keep talking about this podcast after it's done.
Yeah.
So we're going to post all the links in the comments below. And then, so you can always reach out to Tim, and he's very, as you can tell, he's very easy to approach and talk to, and a very generous, down to earth kind of guy, despite his successes and the successes that he has to come. And Tim, I mean, again, like you said to me on when I was on your show, I mean, we would love to have you back again because I'm sure there's more stories in there that we just haven't even touched on. Not
even my story. I could talk about any story. I love stories. I love talking about topics that are just anything that's interesting.
I can read stories out of Dr. Seuss's book too.
That's exactly.
We start reading stories for each other.
Oh my gosh.
We get to the point where we're just reading other people's stories. No, but and putting our own spin to it and say, this is how it should have been written. Yeah.
See, we can make it that entertaining. I'm telling you, we could read a Dr. Seuss story and make it a whole show. I think that's Jesse. Write that one down.
You know what though? Yeah, actually, to metaphorically map across to life experiences. Sam, I am. Ooh, yes. Green eggs and ham. It's like, why is it green? Why green and not blue? We need to observe how your perspective has shifted because anyway, so more to come on that. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you taking the time.
No, listen, I appreciate you. And Jennifer's going to reach out to you and Jessica, get you on the show here coming up soon. So
and I think we're going to have Jennifer on the show too because she has a unique perspective on other things as well. So
coming up in June.
We'll tell you secrets too, so you have to give her a talking first before she gets on.
Yeah, exactly. They've been working together for how long now? All right. Well, thank you so much. So everybody, tune in next week. We're going to have and I think next week is just me and Jessica. We're going to talk about some really cool topics. More online of manifesting your dreams and executing your genius. So make sure you want to tune in for that. But thank you so much. And if you guys, if you're listening to this not live, you can still ask questions because we're going to pipe any question that comes up. And I'm sure Tim will probably see it because he's on Spreaker too. So we'll just keep the flow going, keep the conversation going after this is all done. So again, go to unitedintentions.org, connect with Tim, and then just really get your intentions out there and start tapping into the power of that. Thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate you taking the time. And that's pretty much it for this week.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Keep it going, man. You guys are doing great workout. Great guys work there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Peace out.